On The Chris Smith Show, this is All Things Automotive with Sydney City Lexus and Sydney City Toyota Managing Director, John Roca.
John, good morning to you.
Chris, good morning. Thanks for having me. And my condolences go out to the Coleman family because I grew up with watching Simon Towns's Wonderworld and watching Jonathan, and brought a lot of laughs and good times to my generation.
Yeah,
so,
and remember all of those daytime television programs? He'd always pop his head up there too as well, wouldn't he?
Always smiling. You'd never know he was in a bad mood, would you?
Yeah, very true. Now, with the end of the financial year deals behind us, the June 2021 new vehicle registration figures have just been released. What is it telling us about what happened in the latter part of the last financial year?
Yeah, it was interesting. We had a very successful month in terms of the industry for end of financial year, but it wasn't your typical end of financial year in terms of the numbers. The number was higher than last year. Australians registered 110,664 new vehicles this June. So that's up 0.4% on last June.
Oh, that's good.
Which is good. But the interesting part about it, Chris, is that a lot more customers actually purchase cars than these figures actually show. So our order intake in our business, in particular for Toyota and Lexus, was very, very high. And I think you'll find that was the case around every dealership in the country. But again, it's the supply issue that wasn't able to give us a larger number.
Right, the supply issue is really crippling just about every dealer. 131873 is the telephone number. John won't be with us forever, but he's here to answer your questions. Anything related to cars, trucks, automotive is what the segment's called. All things automotive. So if you've got a question, give him a call right now, John Roca. Now, I want to know, what impact do you reckon that the Treasurer's asset write-off, the extension of the asset write-off, has had on those numbers?
I think the write-off has definitely helped because the orders did come in. The problem is the ships didn't, so the vehicles didn't arrive. So we took the orders. Business was quite adamant that they needed to turn over. We're actually seeing a lot of our fleet businesses increase their order intake. And if you look at the market overall year to date from January to June, it's up 28.3%. So can you imagine if we did have the supply, what that number would be? So far this year, Australians have registered 567,468 new cars.
That's incredible.
So, yeah, they did rush in for the asset write-off, and it's still there. So I think it ends next year. So next June will be very interesting.
Yeah. Tell me, do you think people go into a dealership and know that they can't get their car that they have their heart set on right now because we've got a society that seems to want instant gratification? They walk out and they don't purchase?
They do now. I think customers, the beauty of the internet tells customers where the vehicles are. So what we're finding is that it's a really strange pattern. We're seeing customers from different areas coming to us because we may have the car. But in general, the mood has changed. Customers were coming in wanting a discount during COVID, and that's all changed. They know the discounts aren't there because the vehicles aren't there. So they've been educated very, very well and very quickly.
And is the impact on the second-hand market following the same trajectory as what you and I have discussed in recent months?
Spot on, Chris. It's still the same. We cannot find a trade-in or a used car because they're simply, as we said, the used car is produced or the trade-in is produced as a result of the delivery of a new car. So if we're delivering less new cars, we're getting less used cars. So resale for used cars is still really, really good. If you're looking at selling a car, you're still in a very hot market.
All right. Matthew has just phoned in. He's got a question about WRXs. Go ahead, Matthew.
Hey, Matthew.
Hey, how are you?
Good.
I'm just calling. I was wondering if you had any information about the new Subaru WRX, the new engine, when it's coming out, and maybe if you've got an idea of what the price might be.
This is the STI, isn't it?
Yeah, there's not much information going around.
No, and I've had a look on, basically what I've seen is what you may have seen already. Pricing for car manufacturers is not normally released because they're still negotiating with the manufacturers, believe it or not. Distributors don't actually receive the price until the very last minute because what they're trying to do is achieve a lower price for their customers. So we won't see the price for a while. But what I do know is that this particular new WRX is a new platform and a brand new car. So if you've had one in the past and liked it, I can assure you, you're going to like the new one as well.
Four cylinders, John. 4 cylinders at 295 kilowatts.
Yeah, it's a lot of kilowatts for a small car, isn't it? But it always has been. They've always been a very powerful, very enjoyable car to drive and extremely popular. But pricing, at this stage, we won't know until just before release.
Cool. Thanks very much.
Good on you. Thank you for that,
you.
Matthew. 131873. Neil's got a question for you. Go ahead, Neil.
Hey, Neil.
Thanks. Yeah, good morning. I've got a 2015 Mercedes-Benz C63 507 edition. I've been told by anecdotally that might become a collector's item. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I believe any 63 is pretty collectible, but obviously there are a lot of them that are manufactured. This particular model that you're talking about, the 2015 issue, was one of the unique cars because it had... do you own the vehicle yourself, Neil?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, so you'd know that this particular model has a lot more spec than the previous or the latter model. So this particular one in the 2005, I would say, are very, very collectible. How many kilometres do you have on this car?
70,000.
Yeah, I'd be keeping it under 80 if I could. That's a very collectible sort of mark where you really want to keep it around the 80,000 before you sell it or below.
All right. Okay. Appreciate that. Thank you. Does the 507 edition add to the value? It's got the bonnet scoops on the front and particular type of mag wheels.
That's correct.
I don't think they made as many of them. Oh.
No, this particular one that you own is a limited. So I would hold on to that car if you can. You might have to find a second-hand car to drive and collect this one, I think.
Yes, that could be good advice. Walter, very quickly, you've got some information you're looking for on the CLA 45S.
Yes. Yeah.
Hey, Walter.
Any information, any thoughts on those cars?
In terms of supply or the vehicle itself, Walter?
The vehicle itself. I know the supply is about a 6-month wait, if you're lucky.
It is, and it's funny, we're starting to trade some of these CLA 45s on some of our product. I know Mercedes-Benz drivers know that the new one is coming. It's a little bit like the discussion we had on the Subaru. There's not a lot of information there. We know that there's a bit of a wait there, and we also know that it's new spec and new engine configuration as well. Suspension, transmission has changed as well. So I think this is going to be a very hot car. It is already, but this is the new spec vehicle.
Yeah, so you're probably dribbling with excitement, Walter. I can imagine why. Thank you very much. It's a hot car, all right. John Roca, I've run out of time. Sorry for a shortened version of the program today, but just had a few things to get to.
Chris.
Yep.
That's fine. Just one last thing, if I may.
Yes.
I'd like to help young Caitlin and her family based on the story that you were speaking about earlier, and I'd like to pledge $4,000 on behalf of Sydney City Lexus and Sydney City Toyota as well, because during these hard times of COVID, we're all doing it tougher. There are a lot of people out there doing it tougher than us. So I'd like to support Caitlin and her family by pledging that as well.
Thank you to you and Lexus. Fantastic. $4,000 to Caitlin and the family. Great, John. Thank you very much. Have a great week.
Sunday.